welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You can find your way over to Great Lakes Honda City Monday through Saturday for sales and service. And of course, you can also find them all the time online by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. And we're in Happy Honda Days currently going on, so make sure you get in touch with Great Lakes Honda City today and let them know that DT sent you. We're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. And of course, you can find us on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we appreciate you being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're here on a wonderful, wonderful Christmas Eve. There's not a lot of snow outside. Most of it's melted away. There's just a little bit left, and I don't know if this man would like it because he won a national championship in the snow, so maybe he wants a little bit of snow to be out there, but we'll talk with him in just a moment, that being right next to us here in the studios inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', letting you know the topics and the guests of the day. Will be in an all-new Lazer Lounge, proudly presented by the wonderful Onondaga Community College, and Paul Clark will be joining me. He was on the show for a Lazer Lounge a few weeks back, and in between him being on then and being on today, no big deal. He just won a national championship. National, folks. So we'll talk with him about it in just a moment, and then we'll have our second episode around 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time of NeapoliDANS, a nice play on words for two Italians talking with each other, something that I've never seen any other show do, which is chronicle a former student athlete of a school going into the NFL draft and having them on weekly to tell their story over many months. Episode 2 of NeapoliDANS featuring Syracuse Orange tight end alum and 2026 NFL draft prospect Mr. Dan Villari will be airing today at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. The title of that episode is Isn't That Guy a Tight End? And you'll find out what we mean by that when we get into it in just a little bit. So with that being said, we are here picture in picture in this Lazer Lounge with Paul Clark, Onondaga Community College student athlete and 2025 cross-country national champion, here with us this morning. Paul, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. And Paul, I mean, listen, I'm super excited, super pumped. You know, I had the opportunity to speak with, the sports information director and everything that Taylor Casella does, and a great job that she does for OCC. She was so excited. I don't know if you know this, but she's a massive fan of yours. So we were both celebrating this moment with you and watching the video and all of that. So bring me into, before we get into what happened there, let's go into the preparation for this cross-country opportunity. So bring me into, before you even traveled, got on the road, bring me into what you did to prepare for such a feat.
I know on lots of my runs, I just visualized how I imagined the race would go and just thought about when I would make my move and how, how to orient it so that way I knew that it would work out for me. And I ended up making that happen. And all the visualization, I think, definitely helped with my race plan and ended up winning.
So you talk about the visualization of that. Do you kind of look at the trail and what you have? Do you research that and get a feel for it? I mean, do they let you kind of know, like, hey, this is what it looks like? Do they send you information? Because when you talk about visualizing it, are you physically seeing the space that you were going to be, obviously running on outside? Did you get an opportunity to get like a first look at it, so to speak?
Yeah, they sent us the picture of the course, and so based off that, I was able to look at it and see like where the 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile marks are, and like think about when I wanted to make a surge or anything like that.
So you see what the course looks like, and then does it tell you, like you said, it kind of tells you the markers, but does it tell you like, hey, this is where you're going to be on an incline, this is where you're going to come down, this is a stretch that's going to be this? I mean, do they kind of give you a feel for what it's going to be in essence, and so you can essentially find a place where you are to kind of simulate it, I guess is what I'm getting at here. Is, do they kind of let you know the courses, ups and downs, ebbs and flows, so that you can try to create it in a way if you go out in central and upstate New York? Do they do any of that for you, or did you do that for yourself?
You really couldn't tell about like elevation until we got there and ran it the day before, but I get kind of looking just off of like Google Maps and like pictures from other meets, you could kind of tell a little bit. Like you could see that the finish was like the last like 400 or so was downhill. I could tell that from before going there, but then like running it the day before, Jackson and I ran it together and we saw where the hills were and planned where to make a move and stuff like that.
Yeah, so when you were visualizing it, when they sent it to you and kind of showed you like this is where this is and this is where that is, like you said, you couldn't simulate it till you really got there and got a feel for it. So how did you visualize off of what they gave you? Like how did you take what you saw and then implement it into, going out for a run and whatnot? Did you try to do a simulation for yourself?
I think just mentally, I knew that of the people that would be like in our group of like racing for the national title, and I just like pictured running with them and surging and then like putting them away at some point, and that's what ended up happening. And so I think visualizing it just made it a lot easier in the moment to just be like, oh, I know what I'm doing and when to go.
Yeah, and I think people talk about this all the time, right? Visualizing the victory, manifesting it, so to speak. Have you always been somebody who's done something like that, or is that something that you implemented over time?
I think this is the first time where that I've done something like that because this was like the first race that I really had confidence that I could win it if I really planned out what I would be able to do and when to go and when to make the move.
So this was the first time that you decided to visualize it when you won a national championship. So will you be
Yeah.
visualizing a lot of other things in the future? I'm guessing.
Yes, definitely. I think it's very important and definitely helps out a lot to do that.
So here with Paul Clark, OCC student athlete in the cross country and track and field world. We're talking about cross country where he just won a national championship. Share with everybody kind of like the trail to it. So you go out there and you're visualizing and you're getting your body ready and whatnot and thinking about when you're going to surge. Beyond that, bring us into any other preparation you did, be it food habits or anything else that you thought was really of note, sleep habits, or what you did for yourself that you thought ultimately was part of the success.
Definitely dieting's important. I try to just eat like foods that aren't terrible for you, like not a ton of sugar, not a ton of processed stuff, and then definitely recovery, sleep. Definitely, I get 9+ hours almost every night when I can, and I think that's also very key. And then, stretching, making sure I'm not doing too much on runs that are supposed to be easy, making sure they're easy, and then treating the workouts that are hard as the hard days, and just staying consistent and all that.
Do you have? I mean, you want something so bad like this, and you love running. So, do you have to like stop yourself at certain times and say, "Hey, like, I have to pace myself. I'm gonna, I need to take a break. I'm gonna take a day in between." Like, have you had to learn to tell yourself? I don't even want to say tell yourself no, but have you learned to kind of tell yourself like, "Okay, that's enough for today, and then we'll get back at it tomorrow."
I think I did kind of the opposite. Like I used to take a lot of days off, and I kind of
Okay.
started doing less of that when I really didn't need a day off. I'd take it anyways, and now it's just like I don't need a day off. I'm gonna go out and train and get better and stuff like that.
So then we get ready for the national championship. Bring me into the travel and everything that went into that opportunity for you. Just kind of help us live vicariously through you of traveling to the actual meet and opportunity.
So we flew through I think American or Delta. I don't remember what we flew through, but the OCC was great enough to fly us there. So we got up. I think our plane left Syracuse at 6 in the morning, and then we got to Chicago, and then we had a pretty long layover before we landed in Des Moines. and then we just went to our hotel, went out to dinner. I went for a run, like a little easy shakeout run, like 5 miles with some strides, and then went to dinner, and then just went back to the hotel and chilled for a little bit.
I was gonna say, I mean, when you're traveling, because you got to keep your body right and you got to, be comfortable. You don't want to cramp up and whatnot. So you get off the plane and, you get, like you said, you had the layover and whatnot. How did your body feel? How does your body typically feel if you're on the bus or on a plane? Do you feel like you have to kind of run right after, even if it's just a short run? Do you feel like you have to kind of like get your body going again? I mean, is that a normal thing for you?
Yeah, our layover was pretty long, so we definitely walked around every couple hours or so, so that like just keep the legs moving and the blood flowing and stuff like that. And then, so yeah, that was great. That Chicago was huge, and we had plenty of space to walk around. Could have walked around there all day and not seen everything, so that was nice. And then, just running was, you got to run. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to paint the picture here for those that didn't see the video, and a lot of people did. An amazing, amazing video. Doing it in the snow is insane, and I'm going to speak with you on that in a moment here. But at Fort Dodge, Iowa, is where you were. Whiteout conditions, sub freezing wind in Iowa, and you were able to get this national championship as a Baldwinsville native, NJC AA Division III national championship going to you in the 8,000-meter race, just under 5 miles, finishing in 26 minutes 50 seconds. You were a full 8 seconds ahead of Nathan Ciarlet of Joliet Junior College, the runner who had beaten you twice before in national championship races. So not only to win this, but to win it against someone who had beaten you before. Bring me into that, and you had almost 10 seconds on him.
Yeah, that was definitely a great feeling. It was my goal for the future now is to not lose to him again, to stay ahead of him. He beat me all of last year, and now my goal is to beat him all of this year. And I think I knew that in the race before I made my move, that when I made the move, he was gonna go with me, and I thought he would keep it closer over the last mile, but I guess he just didn't have it all there, and I did.
Yeah, I mean, for you to have that moment, right? It seems poetic. It seems like a movie to say, okay, this person got me last year a couple times, and now here I am running to the end of this race, and the person that's right behind me is that person again. It feels like the Mighty Ducks. It feels like Cool Running. I mean, there's a lot of movies that you feel like you can kind of associate with that moment. I know that when you're out there, you're locked in, you're focused, you're manifesting, you're taking care of your body, you're doing what you need to do. Did you at all know that he was right there behind you, or did you not know that?
I knew that he was there in our group before, like through the 4 mile, and then after I pushed up that hill, yeah, I took maybe one or two looks back and saw he was, 5, 6, 7 seconds behind, and knew that that wasn't enough. I was still kind of worried coming down the final hill that he would come get me. He's got big strides and he's got some good top end speed, and he didn't, but I was a little worried about it. But then after I saw Rob, probably Coach Rob, about 100 meters from the finish, and he was like all happy and cheering, I knew that he wasn't going to end up getting me, and that was great. It was a great feeling.
Did you say anything to him after? I mean, do you guys talk after these things since, you're right there with each other and it's typically that close race. So, was there any conversation or no?
He kind of came over and just we gave each other a hug and said good job to each other, and that was the extent of our conversation. But I talked to other people like Alan from Hudson Valley. We talked for a while, and then my teammates, and all the other Region 3 guys that were excited to see me win that I talked to previously.
And you talked about your head coach and, having Greg Keeler and also Rob Colvin. Just what you could say about the coaching staff, what it means to you. I know, they appreciate anytime I've done anything with cross country, they've been extremely supportive early on here in my partnership with Onondaga Community College. I got a message last night of being happy that you were coming back onto the show. So just what it means to you to have their support, to have them there with you, to celebrate you, and to be there for you, because it seems like They don't hide it at all, and definitely not in the short amount of time that I've known Greg. He makes it a point to reach out to me and say, like, thank you for doing this, thank you for putting a spotlight, thanks for having my guys out there. So I'd love to get your thoughts on your coaching staff.
Yeah, they're both great. They do everything for us. They're very supportive. I couldn't ask for anything really different. Whatever they do is great, and they're very supportive, and they always know what to do, and yeah.
So we go into this moment. We know that there's snow. Have you ever had a situation quite like this? Has there ever been an opportunity, a race that you've had in the cross country world that had these type of elements? The cold, the snow. I mean, it legitimately looked like you were running through a snow globe. I mean, this was not like a little bit of snow. This was like,
Right.
oh my goodness, can they even feel their bodies right now? So, have you ever had anything in your history that was like that?
No, that was definitely one of a kind. And the day before, there was no snow. It was like 54 degrees outside, and the weather was looking great. And then at like 7, 8 o'clock that next morning, it just started coming down and didn't stop.
So, you have this day where you go and like you said, you ran it, you went through, and so you got a feel for everything the day before, and obviously the elements were totally different. Was there anything you could take from going through the course the day before with totally different weather and none of those elements? Obviously, that can change some things, but was there something that you felt like, okay, you know what? Even though it's snowing, even though it's totally different, I can take this with me. Like, was there something that could translate from you running the race without snow into running it when it was such bad conditions?
With the snow, is obviously slippery. I think the other three guys that were with me, they all slipped or stumbled at some point, and I thankfully didn't. So I don't know. I guess I stayed on my feet better. That wouldn't have been a problem if there was no snow on the ground. And going up the hills, I guess it was harder to because once the gator had come through twice, and then all the other people, it was kind of like mushy, and with the no snow on the ground, that wouldn't have been a problem.
Not being in a race like that before or having experienced anything like that before, what did that do when you wake up in the morning, you look outside and you're like, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I have, right? There's nothing I can do, these are the elements. What does that do for you? Like, when you see that, how early did you get to the course, and what were you doing to kind of prepare for something that you've never ever raced in before?
We got there probably 7. I think the race went off at 9:30, or we got there probably 7:30. We didn't really change up anything. It was just like, oh, it's snow. Everybody's gonna have to deal with it, and
Yeah.
whoever's the toughest will come out on top of it, and that's what happened.
Did you have nerves at that point? I mean, was what looking at this saying, okay, I could slip, I could not feel my hands, I could not feel. I mean, I'm watching because this is the thing. It's like you're not just out there doing this running in a jacket. You're not running in pants. You're running as if it's, you know, 70 degrees outside. So,
Mhm.
did you at some point in this course lose any feeling? Did you get to a point where you're like, this is really uncomfortable? Like you said, thank goodness you didn't slip, but how was your body reacting to what you were asking it to do in the elements that you were asking it to do it in?
I think with all the adrenaline, I didn't even really feel that much different. I had gloves and a hat and arm sleeves on, so that definitely helped keep some body heat. And my glasses, with all the snow, I couldn't see anything, so I had to toss them off to Greg in the middle of the race. And then after that, I could see again, and I was like, oh, I can push this a little harder, and that's where everybody else wasn't able to hang on to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible because not only did you take first place and win a national championship, but you did it in such insane elements. Does that make it more sweet to you to say, I have this national championship, I have this moment in my history where, how many people in the world ever get to call themselves a national champion of anything, but to do it in such bad conditions, does that make it even better, even sweeter for you?
Absolutely, yeah. And the pictures I think looked a lot cooler than if there was no snow on the ground. They definitely looked better.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess going through, I mean, this 8,000 meter and a little bit over 5 miles. So as you're going through this and you're finishing things up, and like you said, toward the tail end of it, you're going downhill. So as you're coming to the end of this race, and you can see, well, could you see? Did you know, like, okay, that's the end line? I mean, with everything going on and the snow in your face and whatnot, and all this stuff on the ground, could you see, like, okay, I'm getting to the end because you simulated it by running it a day before, or with all the elements and whatnot, did you just say to yourself, hey, I'm running this thing out, I think I'm toward the end, I hope I am? I mean, could you tell or could you not tell?
I really knew that just that you go up the hill and then down the hill, and then there's
Yeah.
about 200 meters to the finish. So once I got to the bottom of the hill, it was just sprint as hard as I could and try to finish the race and close my eyes and run.
Yeah, I mean, and for you to get to that end point, did you, what was going through your mind and your heart at that time when you got to where you got to? I know you said you looked behind you a couple times and you see the guy that has beaten you a couple times, so he's there, he's in your
Mhm.
pack of four that's remaining here. But bring me into those last final seconds of you running this. Like you said, I know I go up the hill, I know I go down the hill, and once I go down, I know I'm taking off, and this is the end of it. What's going through you as you're going through the end of it?
Just excitement that I'd won, I'd finally beat him, and I was gonna get a cool medal and a couple plaques and stuff.
So once you got there, you thought to yourself, like, hey, there's no way that I'm not, like, when did you know, hey, I'm winning, I know that I'm winning this thing? Like, at what point with those last few steps, so to speak, how soon did you know, like, hey, I got this? Like, there's nothing's gonna stop me. I know I have my spacing. I know I have what I need. Like, how when you could see the finish line, we're talking about how many seconds did you say to yourself, like, I know I got this?
Probably 15. I think when I made my move with like a mile out, when Nate didn't immediately match it and he wasn't right on my heels, I think I knew then that I'd put him away, but like still I just had the nerves of, oh, he's gonna come back and come back to me, but he just never did. And yeah.
What was the move that you made?
So there was a at about the 4 mile mark, there was a you go like up a hill and then over a little bit, and at the bottom of the hill, I surged, put on a press, and then went up the hill faster than them and went around that turn and pushed it more, and then you can see in like the video, it's like the cart gets a little stuck, and then like you see the three of them, and then I'm just like 4 or 5 seconds ahead of them, just off that little like 10-second clip.
The way you describe this, the way you describe what you do, it's like we're talking about a race with vehicles. Okay, this
Hmm.
is this is where I took my corner. This is how tight I went this way. I went wide here. This is what I did. This is when I picked up my speed and whatnot. How do you get your body to do these things? Like, a vehicle is made to take off and be able to do different things, shift gears and whatnot. So essentially, how do you turn your body into a machine, so to speak? How do you shift gears and kind of pick your spots to do all of this? Because you are a human being, even though, Paul, some people may think you're not because of how you won this thing. But how do you essentially become the machine, so to speak, and know when to shift gears and how to shift gears? Like, how do you pull this out of yourself?
You can train it, and I think Greg prescribed like some good workouts where we would do something at a set pace, and then we would pick it up over the last, say, 200 meters. Like we would do I think we did 600 at like race pace, and then 200 right after, pick it up, change gears, go faster, and that's how you just train it. You get used to going at a set pace and then just surging.
So for you, do you feel like you can attribute a lot of this success and things that you did and moves that you made to how Greg has trained you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the pace in the race at Nationals was because of the weather. Everybody was kind of scared to, press it a little bit. So I had a lot of energy left over that last mile to, make the move. And yeah.
How much did it change you, going through this? Like you said, I mean, you said some people were timid and were scared to do things and you were not. So obviously that goes to your benefit. But did anything change in how you were doing it, making sure you don't slip, making sure you can like see and whatnot? Are you rubbing your face during this race? Or are you just saying, hey, like sometimes it could be as simple as getting a snowflake on an eyelid, so to speak, or on an eyelash, and you're trying to get it away and you're trying to see what you got going on. So, did anything with the elements make you have to adjust on the fly and do something that you didn't do the day before when you were going through it?
Yeah, I definitely had to wipe my glasses off multiple times with my gloves before I ended up taking them off. And then, like the turns, I took cautiously because I really didn't. If I go down, then getting back up and catching back up would be pretty hard to do. So I took the turns a little slower, try to keep my space from the other guys, so we wouldn't clip each other's legs or anything like that.
And you said you had to wipe off your glasses a bunch of times before you took them off. When did you take them off in the race?
About right before I made my move, I saw Greg and took him off, and then I could see, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna push this, and that was right before my planned spot of pushing it, and it just worked out.
How so you take your glasses off? How well can you see without them?
So I would have taken them off sooner, but I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to see anything. But I took them off, and I was like, I can see fine, and it's kind of surprised me because like I could hardly see anything with them on, so I could definitely see a lot better with them off in the race.
So I mean, that's another part of it too. That's like Clark Kent Superman, right? You're wearing these glasses and you're saying I need these glasses in my daily life, and then you take them off and you're like somehow I can see better. Somehow this is more
Mhm.
clear to me now. Did that surprise you? Was that, I mean, to me that feels like a godsend where God's like, you got these glasses on and it's messing up with, your vision and whatnot, but you normally wear your glasses and then you take them off and all of a sudden you can see better. In my world, that would make me smirk and go, okay, God, you're telling me put these things away and let's take care of this. I mean, how weird was that moment for you?
It was definitely weird. I think the all the white snow definitely made it like brighter and made it easier to see everything. But I mean, it was really just following the lead vehicle that was it wasn't too far ahead of us, so I could it was blurry, but because my vision's really bad without my glasses on, but I could still see like the outline of it or like the blurry vision of it, so it wasn't too bad.
I mean, honestly, I feel like we should make a movie of this thing because it sounds so cool. What do you sit here this morning and remember the most of that race?
Um, hmm, Probably just tossing my glasses to coach. I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny in the moment. I was like, "Hey, take my glasses," and just tossed them off to him.
Yeah.
He
Did
caught
he
them.
did he catch him?
He did, yeah,
All right,
thankfully.
all
They were my
right.
prescription Oakleys, so I needed them to keep them in good condition.
Hey, listen, I got Oakleys as well. We don't mess with Oakleys, so you don't
Yeah.
mess around with that stuff. Here with Paul Clark, national champion. Has that hit you yet, Paul? That like for the rest of your life, national champion. We're talking about the fact that this is it's great to win a championship. It's great to have something under your belt in the cross country world or the track and field world to win an event, to win on a course, but this is a national championship. The country converges out here at Fort Dodge, Iowa, and you come out of it with a national championship. Like, has that truly hit you yet that we could make a movie about you and celebrate America and celebrate a national championship? I mean, does that, because to me it's like every time I think about that I'm like, Paul was such a nice guy. We had a great time talking. It was awesome. Look forward to having him back on. And then, like I said, in the midst of it, you win a national championship. National. I mean, the more
Mhm.
I say it, the more I'm like, how do you wrap your head around something like that? Have you?
Yeah, I have it. The athletic department was great. They ordered me a ring to celebrate it, so I'll have that for the rest of my life to remind me of it, and I'm sure I'll never forget it. But if I do, then I'll see my blingy OCC ring with the year and time and date on it.
Does it have a big O in the center?
I think it does, yeah.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
well, shout out to OCC for getting you one of those rings. That is absolutely incredible. Any other note before we jump into rapid fire here? Is there anything else about that moment, about that event, about that time in Iowa that you want to share in the road to your national championship?
I think as a team, we all had a really great time. We definitely bonded some more, and that's great going into the indoor season. And we're a great group of guys, and we all enjoy being around each other and training and having fun and going to dinner with each other and stuff like that.
Who needs an indoor season when you run so well in the snow? Just keep it
I
outside.
would love to do cross country year round.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you've shown that. Hey, has Greg said anything to you about that? Like, hey, man, like now that you've shown you can do this, I guess Central New York, we should just keep it outside.
Yeah, I think this experience has definitely made me like last year if it was snowing out, I'd run on the treadmill, but even if it's snowing, I've been going outside and running anyways, and I think that's just because I know that it's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, the pictures of this whole thing, you describing it more in depth, you talking about the glasses coming off and all of that. I mean, it does. It seems like one of those rare moments in the history of sports in America that truly is special. How do you reflect on this? I know you talked about your teammates and whatnot, but after this all happens, you said, it was cool to get some hardware, and to celebrate this moment. You beat the person that had beaten you the last couple times. But when you went back to the hotel and you're sitting there, what was the reflection of this like?
It was still pretty cold even when I got back to the hotel, so yeah, I wasn't even really thinking about it. I was just thinking about getting in the shower and being warm again.
So you win a national championship and your body's like, yeah, 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 yeah. Get in the shower. let's get this snow off. I want to stop feeling
Hmm.
like a snowman.
Yep.
So that coming from Paul Clark, winning a national championship, bringing a natty home, and getting a ring for it. Shout out OCC on that. Onondaga Community College student athlete, 2025 cross country national champion. He did it in Iowa, and he did it in elements that I don't even know if something has looked worse than that. Not in my world of 20 plus years of broadcasting have I seen something outdoor in that effect look to that degree of just craziness when it came to the snow. Paul, let's play some rapid fire. You get to ask the first question. You can ask me anything in the world, and we'll go back and forth for a few.
I don't think I've asked you, are you planning? Let me think. I got a football question. I just got to think what
Okay.
about it?
All
For
right.
NFL teams, what team do you want to see win the Super Bowl this year? And what team do you want to see get crushed in the Super Bowl this year?
That's a good question. I would love to see my Jaguars do it because they're in the playoffs. And it's funny how people give me crap about being a Jaguars fan, and then everybody shuts up when they win. But I would say, yeah, I'd love to see the Jaguars do it. I definitely love the players. I'm sad that some people aren't a part of the organization anymore, but I would like to see the players do it. I covered Trevor Lawrence in college. I covered Travis Etienne Jr. in college. So to see them do what they're doing is really, really cool. And there's some awesome guys on the team. LaQuinn Allen Jr. obviously covered him at Syracuse. So I
Mhm.
definitely would love to see them win it. Who would I want to see crushed in it right now? That's a good question. I mean, some of the teams are already out that, I'm okay that I don't have to see Taylor Swift for the entire
Mhm.
postseason.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's going to be wonderful. And it's no offense to Taylor. It's just if I want to see her 900 times, I'll go to her concert. But I mean, you could show her once or twice, but there's 53 guys on a roster. They have girlfriends and wives and fiancés. Maybe you should show them. Pat Mahomes been married for a while. He's got kids. Like they could show his wife once or twice. But I would say, what team do I want to see crushed? That's a good question. I would say, oh, fans are going to be mad at me for this. I think I don't know. I'm not really do I want to say that one? I guess I'm not too big on. This is tough. I mean, I respect Houston and I respect
Mhm.
Indianapolis, but they're in the same division as the Jaguars. So I definitely would prefer to not have the Jaguars play Houston three times. So I guess
All
I'll
right.
say I guess I'll say Houston.
Okay.
I'm going to come back to you with an NFL question. What would be your Super Bowl this year? If you could choose who's going to make it to the end of this thing, who would you prefer watching?
I would love to see the Bills finally win one. I think now that the Chiefs are out of the picture, that their chances have increased. They seem to just always lose to them every year. And I'm not a huge football fan, but if I had to pick a team, it'd probably be the Bills because the Giants are horrible.
That's true. They are.
Yeah.
So the Bills have clinched a playoff spot. They do have an opportunity. We'll see
hmm
what they can make this thing look like. The Jaguars just defeated the Broncos head to head, and they are one game behind them. So if the Broncos are to trip, the Jaguars, if they keep winning, could find themselves as the number one seed in the AFC, which is insane. What's your next question
Yeah.
for me?
Hmm. Do you get Christmas gifts, and what is a gift you would love to receive this year?
Yes, we do. I like to give more than to receive. I'm
hmm
big on that, big on doing things for people that I love that show that I listen to them. I know what they like and I, value them. I try to be purposeful with every single gift that I buy, which is why it's not easy for me to just, go just get whatever. I'm not a gift card buyer. I try to put a lot of thought and depth into the gifts that I get. So I would say, what gift would I want to receive this year, man? I want to see the world be kinder, gentler. I want to see God at the center of it. I want to see God back in this country more. I would love to see peace. I'd love to see people stop polarizing things, stop yelling at each other. So many strangers yelling at each other, and they don't realize you're killing your opportunity to network, to advance, to grow as a person. I've learned so much from people that are different than me. And I just feel like the world that we're living in now, where like if you don't agree with me, I'm gonna scream and cry and act like an idiot. Like it's just we have adult children in America who are raising children, which is
Right.
terrifying. And I just would prefer a God centered, kind, open, just world of people that are willing to learn and grow and do it together. I'm so sick and tired of seeing neighbor fight neighbor because of what sign is on their front lawn. And think about it like this, how crazy this is. Like fighting over who people voted for and what party they're in and all this stuff. It's like you're probably never going to meet the people that you're fighting over, and that's killing your friendships. It's killing your communities. Like you don't even know these people. So I would just say, yeah, have your values, compromise where you can, where you can't, don't. But just have a heart and stop talking to people the way that people. I mean, I see how people talk on social media, and I've seen how some people have tried to speak to me, and the way that I respond is I don't in a lot of ways because it's not worth it. I mean, could you imagine somebody coming up to you, Paul, in the grocery store and seeing a shirt you're wearing and they don't like the shirt you wear and they just start screaming at you? I mean, that's what social media is sometimes. Like if that happened in real life, we would think that there's a bunch of psychopaths in the world, and so I think that I don't know what makes people do that on social media. I guess it's cuz they can hide, but I I would ask people to do the one thing that God said to do if they forgot everything else, which is to treat people the way they want to be treated. And nobody wants to be treated the way that most people treat each other these days on social media. So I would say just reflect on that, remember that. And if I could ask for anything for Christmas, it would be the Christmas miracle of kindness, generosity, love, and remembering we all come from the same maker. So maybe we should start acting like family again.
Yeah, that's great. It's probably the best thing you could ask for.
Yeah, that's what I would say. So my question back to you, Paul, is if you could, hmm, let me think here. Okay, I got this one. It goes with the snow. If you could make a snow globe, and that snow globe could have within it a moment in your life, what moment would you want to recreate in a snow globe that you could look at every day?
Well, I think the easy answer there is just my national championship that I just won because it was in the snow. So I think that would be the most fitting to be able to rewatch over and over again.
Yeah. Well, I asked it thinking you might say that so that I could tell OCC, let's make some Paul Clark snow globes and let's sell these things. So, with that being said, Onondaga Community College student athlete, 2025 cross country national champion, and now you could see him in the indoor world as well, but also outside because the man knows what he's doing in the snow. Lazer Lounge with Paul Clark and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Onondaga Community College. Paul, thank you for your time. Thank you for all your kind words off the air as well, for staying connected with me. And I definitely am happy that we got to do this, but you're always welcome on the show. And I'm just really proud of you. And I'm happy that I get to talk with somebody of your caliber and to have such a great conversation and to now have the opportunity to have another one and to have it with you winning a national championship. So God bless to you and your family. Merry Christmas and a happy holidays. And I'm very just grateful that we got the opportunity to celebrate you here today because you deserve it.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll talk again. I'll stay in touch and I'm sure I'll be back on here eventually.
Sounds good, man. We'll talk soon.
Yep, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. That coming from Paul Clark here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside, and when we come back, NeapoliDANS coming up for you. Episode 2 of NeapoliDANS, a series that I have with Dan Villari, unlike anything that you've ever seen, chronicling his road, his journey, everything he's been through, everything he's going through, and everything on the way to the 2026 NFL Draft for this tight end coming out of Syracuse. Mr. Villari and I, NeapoliDANS, coming to you right after this fast break. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets life. We're inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They're open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. It's Happy Honda Days time, so make sure you get over there. You can get a sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. It's the only place I've gotten a vehicle for over 11 years now. We, of course, are here with a segment you won't find anywhere else, and I don't believe anybody's ever done this on a show before, which is chronicle a draft prospect for months and have a weekly broadcast dedicated to that draft prospect all the way through into the NFL draft. But that's what we're doing. We're making history with Dan Villari here, Syracuse tight end, but also played other positions. We call it NeapoliDANS. We're in episode 2, and this episode is called Isn't That Guy a Tight End? So that being said, Mr. Villari, how are we doing?
I'm very well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, and I'm happy to have you here as always. So, as you know, every episode has a title just like a sitcom would. So this one is very fitting coming off of our inaugural episode where we talked about your voyage from Michigan to Syracuse and being a quarterback, then a tight end, then a quarterback, then a tight end. But we really didn't get into it. So I'd love to start things off here because you told me something off the air that I didn't know, is that you were playing tight end. Well, we'll talk about going into that. That's with Syracuse. But quarterback, tight end, some guys won't change. Some guys are like, this is what I am, this is what I'm going to do. Why were you willing to adjust your position? I know you and I talked about how hard it was, but you were willing to do it.
You know what? I was never willing to do it until Jason Beck brought me in his office summer of 2022, going into camp, going into the season. It was during camp. And I always said, I'll never do it. I'll never switch. I'm a quarterback forever, and I'm going to figure it out. And then he, brought me in his office and said, you're a great athlete. We want to see you. We want to see you on the field. Like, we want to see you with the ball in your hands, and why don't you try flex Y tight end? It wasn't even tight end at first. At first, it was just flex Y, like kind of in the slot.
Yeah.
And I was a mess. I cried in his office. I was really upset. And he said, go home, sleep on it, talk to your family, and let me know. And I went home, called my dad, was out on the porch at UV, the dorms at Syracuse, and I was really upset. And my dad was like, listen, bro, you're a great athlete. You're physical. Why don't you give it a shot? And if it wasn't for my dad, man, just being so supportive, I don't know what I would have done. So I just said, yeah, let me give this thing a shot then. Why not?
Yeah, and to clarify, because, you did tell me how hard it was for you. Willing to do it was that you eventually said yes. But the initial part of it, when you and I had our first conversation and we were on the field that August during fall camp, you told me about that. And you said, dude, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to shift. I was not okay with it off the bat. You didn't just say yes. So to go back to when Jason Beck brought you into his office and he talked with you about this, obviously Coach Beck was the quarterback's coach. Did he tell you why? Did he tell you kind of hey, this is what we're looking at, this is what we got, we really need some help over here, we feel like we have a quarterback? How did he detail the reason to you?
He was straight up with me. I just wasn't moving the chains. I was turning the ball over. I was just having a hard time with the offense, picking it up. So, and then what happened was we had a spring ball scrimmage in the dome, and I got the clips on my phone still. I must have scrambled and broke 3 tackles and ran for a 15-yard run, and people were bouncing off of me. And, the offensive coordinator actually said, wow, Dan, we know you can run the ball. And so I guess they saw that, and they saw, in practice I was live. I was the only quarterback live. I was trying to hurdle people. I was trucking linebackers, and so he probably he saw that and saw something in me. So, but yeah, I just wasn't performing at quarterback. wasn't getting the job done, and he saw other things in me.
So you said you cried in his office, like right in
Yeah.
front of him, had that emotional moment. Bring me into just kind of what was going through you that you let that out, right? Some people don't show it, but you showed it to him. So was that because you felt like you could trust him? You felt like there was a piece there that you could show him how you felt, that you allowed yourself to be emotional in that moment?
I'm just a passionate person, and I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into this and into learning the offense and into trying to be great.
Yeah.
And it just all came out in that office, and I was just like, a little bit of like, is it over for me? Was starting to pop up, and that's when I had to go home and call my pops, and he was like, "It's not over, bro. Like, it's never over." My brother said the same thing, and I would never give up either way. I'm just that kind of person. So I was like, man, I'm gonna make it happen either way. I'm gonna make it happen playing, being a long snapper, like doing whatever. Maybe not that, but doing anything in life. I have that mindset and that fortitude to make it happen. So it didn't take too long for me to get over it.
If that conversation went a different way with your dad, if he didn't say, "Hey, do what you got to do. It's not over for you. Get yourself on the field. I know you can get through this." If you didn't have that support, if he said, "You're a quarterback, stay a quarterback," like if the conversation wasn't as positive, if he didn't tell you to ad lib and be able to adjust, if he wasn't supportive, do you feel like you still would have come to the same results or no?
Um, that's tough to say because, like I told you, I'm a resilient guy, and nothing in this world will ever break me. But I got that from my dad. Like that's my dad's genetics in me. Like we were working out the other day. He's 62 years old, and I see him doing. We're doing flutter kicks in the pool for core, and he's like making the face, and I'm like, Dad, like, relax, like you're good. Like you could just enjoy this, and he's doing the machine bench press, like making a face, beat red, like it's just in us. Like it'll just never leave, you know, our genes. So I don't know. I would be a different person without my dad, if that makes sense. So I don't really know what would have happened.
And what's Pops' first name? What's Dad's first name?
Tim,
Tim.
yeah, Tim's a badass.
So, and well, that's the thing is I got to meet your family, but it was kind of just like this is the Villari family. I was like, I don't even know if I got anybody's name in that moment when we were in Boca Raton. But
Yeah,
so to your father, Tim, to have that support, to have somebody who says, "Hey, you got this. You're tough. You're resilient." To have somebody reminding you who you are in a moment where it's hard, where it's difficult, where you're not quite sure what to do. You said it's in his genetics, it's in your genetics, it comes from your dad. What's it been like to be raised by a man who tells you nothing in this world will ever break you?
I mean, he's the best dad in the world. He was never the guy that was upset at me for playing bad, for not knowing something. Like he was always just so supportive, and he was always so motivating. And that really helped me because I see a lot of guys that they kind of start hating the game when like people close to them are in their ear too much, being negative. Like he was always so positive.
Yeah.
Um, I remember before my youth games, our warm up was I would do 10 push ups, hop up, catch the ball, throw it back to him, do 10, and this is before a game. So like he was just the best dad in the world, and I truly believe like just not having the pressure of coming home to whatever happens to me, my dad's gonna love me and support me. Um, that there's tough love in there too, but just having that support no matter what just allowed me to be drawn to the game on my own and love the game without anybody. And yeah, so very very grateful for him.
So you have that conversation. you sleep on it, how quickly did you tell Jason Beck, all right, I'll do whatever I got to do to get on the field?
I told him the next day. And then they threw me on scout team, and I was an absolute maniac on scout team. Like trying to trying to embarrass people, like trying to pancake everybody, cursing, screaming, just being a complete psychopath because I was just like in a good way, but I was mad, but I was like also like, all right, like I can do anything. Like watch this, watch how I just build up the depth out of nowhere. And I was catching balls, didn't really know how to run routes, but I was also getting knocked on my butt by our starting defense, a bunch of dogs out there. So Marlo Wax, Justin Barron, Michael Jones, bunch of guys. So
Well, that was something that you and I spoke about a little bit off the air, kind of texted back and forth about. So I'd love to go into that a little bit here when you were talking about the fact of being on the scout team as a tight end in 2022 with Syracuse and going up and trying to block against Marlo Wax Jr., Justin Barron, Michael Jones. Bring me into those days on the scout team in 2022 and what it was like to go up against Michael, who obviously found his way into the NFL, and so did Marlo, and so did Justin. So,
all of them, all of them.
you were going up against three guys that the NFL thought, hey, these guys are good enough to make a roster. So obviously you were getting challenged on the scout team back in 2022. Paint a picture for us.
It's crazy because I was just out there just doing whatever, like just trying to hit people. I wasn't even getting coached like how a tight end should be getting coached. And I kind of just figured it out. I kind of just without my passion and my effort, like I would have never made it up to the 1-2 of the depth chart that year. Um, Funny story. During that season, I was on scout team first 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and I thought I was getting better fast. So I went into Coach Anai's office and I was like, "Hey, Coach, like I really feel like I'm one of the most athletic guys in the room. I feel like I catch the ball the best. I feel like I'm the best with the ball in my hands, and I feel like my blocking is just improving." He looks at me, no lie, and goes, "Dan, you are not the best athlete in the room. You don't have the best hands. You're not even close to the best tight end in the room." He said, "I don't even think you can't play with your hand in the dirt in the ACC. I don't even know if you could play like group of five tight end with your hand in the dirt." And I was like looking at him. I'm about to start like crying. I'm about to like get upset. And then he's like, "You can either take this information and you can crawl into a ball and just give up, or you can take that information and do something with it."
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was trying to test me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that guy doesn't lie. So, but I knew I don't think he saw the athlete that was in me. But I looked at him and I swear to God, I was like, "All right, coach, just watch this." And I got up and walked out of his office. 3 weeks later, no more than that, I was starting. I got playing time against Wake Forest, and I was starting against BC in 2022. And I was blocking the whole game. That was my role. But I was starting. And played in the bowl game, started against Minnesota,
Yeah.
just blocked. And then from there, it took off.
So what happened? What did you do? What did you show when he said that to you and you said, "All right, coach, watch this." What do you think stood out to him? What was your move next that you felt got you on the field?
I was I started doing blocking drills after practice every single day. I was catching balls every single day. Um, I just continued to play like a monster in practice. I continued to bring energy like no one on that. The only one bringing energy like I was LaQuint. Excuse me. And they just saw that and they were like, this kid really wants to play. And I just continued to get better. Like I'm one of those guys like if I just continue to work on something, I'm going to adapt and I'm gonna be very good at it. That's just what my dad blessed me with his genes and God blessed me with that. But so I just continue to get better, and I don't know what it was exactly. I can't remember, but I guess they were like, this guy's the best available. This guy's working the hardest, and they started implementing like plays for me to come in motion and come through the line and block ISO, block the linebacker. And I went in against Wake Forest. I ran that play. I blocked the mic, and Tucker ran around it for like 30 yards. And then they just kept putting me in more and more, and I just kept making the most of my opportunities. And my body wasn't even ready for it. Like I wasn't had a lot of body fat on me from when I was a quarterback. So that off season, I started eating really good, cut down on the carbs. I went from like 250 to 235. I was much more lean and fast. Started learning how to run routes that off season. And I actually tore my patellar tendon that off season, blocking, doing blocking drills in like February. I fell into a prowler sled and my knee hit the corner of the sled. It's like a blade almost and punctured right through my patellar tendon. So I got the year before my Wildcat year.
Yeah.
I got surgery on my patellar tendon in like March.
So you got that. So you had a puncture wound in your patellar tendon, which I know all about that because I've injured that before. And
It was torn. Yeah, it was
so
torn through.
I did not, thank God, I did not tear mine, but I know what it feels like to not tear it and hurt it. So, like, I can't even imagine. So, you tore your patellar tendon after the off season of 22, and so you're coming in March 23. We're going into the 2023 season where you ran the Wildcat and you essentially were the quarterback to end the season. So, you had that surgery and got better and then ended up being the guy under center. Like, that's insane because that obviously wasn't public knowledge that any of those things happened to you. So how quickly did you heal?
Well, what happened was it cut. I had a big laceration in my knee, so it was a giant cut, almost like I don't know, just a giant cut, and they just sewed it up, and they thought it was just like a laceration, like just a big cut.
Yeah.
And they sewed it up for me, and I started rehabbing. I, I started to do spring ball, and some days it would feel better, some days it would feel terrible. And I remember running one-on-ones, and I just tried to plant on my right leg, and it just wouldn't. I just had no power, so I fell to the ground, and it hurt like crazy. And I was like, all right, something's wrong here. And so started spring ball, we got a MRI, and there was literally a hole right in the middle of my patellar tendon. And so then I got surgery right away, rehabbed it all summer, didn't come back until the last 2 weeks of camp. And then I was essentially behind Aronde. It was me and Aronde were the guys that were going to play, and then Aronde got hurt, and then I stepped in.
Yeah, and you stepped in for Aronde, and then you ended up stepping in at the quarterback position. And hence us calling this episode, Isn't That Guy a Tight End? Because I had people saying that to me this season in 2025. There was a guy, I think, from the visiting team, and he was sitting next to me in the press box, and he's like, He's like, yeah, the guy that's under center, the number 89, like he's a tight end in this. I was like, no. I said, he's played that position before. He's been in that Wildcat before. So let's go into that situation. Aronde gets hurt. You step in at tight end. Then you have to step in at quarterback. So you had to step in for 2 injured players. Bring me into that situation, what that was like, what that experience was like for you to step in not once, but twice for 2 starters in 2 different positions when Garrett Schrader eventually went down.
I mean, once Aronde went down, I stepped in there and they had me blocking a lot.
Yeah.
And mainly just blocking all the time. I caught one ball for a first down on 3rd down against Army. Caught it, ninth, got the first down, and I just showed in practice. I always showed that I was good with the ball in my hands. I was always a wildcat running quarterback, so I was always in Coach Nunz's ear, and I was always like, Coach, feed me the ball. I can do a lot with it. I'm a physical runner. I promise you. Like, please feed me the ball. Tell Coach Beck, and he would always be like, at first, I don't think he believed it because he was like, man, don't be selfish. Like, play your role, play your damn role, and stop complaining. And then against Clemson, they threw me a sail route, and I caught it, hurdled the guy, made a few miss, and scored. And that's when like I proved that I can do stuff with the ball. And before that, I caught a 5-yard out and took it for 30 yards on the sideline against Clemson. And we were only losing like 14-6 for a while. Like, it was a tight game for a while.
Yeah.
And it was like 14-0. Then I scored, and then that was the game I proved like, okay, this kid can do a lot with the ball. And then they kept trying to give it to me, but our offense struggled a little bit. Virginia Tech, I got like 5 receptions and just kept trying to prove like that I can be in this role. I can be a playmaker on this offense. And then after BC, Coach Babers called me and he said, Dan, what do you think about playing Wildcat quarterback?
Yeah.
You and LeQuint. And I was like, I'm down. Let's do it. He said, like, if we're gonna go down swinging, like we're going down swinging with our 2 best players, and I was like, let's do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and having that opportunity, and like you said, when you got that call from Coach Babers, it was obviously before the Pitt game that you got that phone call. How close was it to that game against Pitt that you got the phone call of like, hey, we don't have Schrader, we don't really have another plan outside of the fact that we're just going to put you under center, put LeQuint under center, we're going to run this Wildcat type of offense, and we're going to try and catch the people off guard. How close was that call to the Pitt game?
It was right after BC was the week before.
Yeah.
And we lost that game, and it was right after the game on Saturday night. Saturday night or something. He called me, and I was with all my buddies too. And picked up the phone, and I was excited. I was very excited.
Yeah, and like so you know that, and you're keeping it under wraps. Nobody can know you're doing this. So what did they tell you? They say like, if you go out and talk to because I'm trying to remember that week. Were you allowed to talk to the media that week, or did they not have you on the? So you were, but you couldn't say anything.
Yeah, I just had to say that, we're sticking with the same game plan we've always had, and I'm going to do whatever I can for my offense and whatever my coaches plan to do. So the whole time knowing that I'm going to be under center.
So how many times while you were at Syracuse did you walk away from the media with a smirk on your face like they have no idea what's about to happen?
A few times. more than a few times. And then I got used to it. And I was like, man, I can't wait till they see me out there at quarterback. Like, they're going to be like, what the heck? but a few times for sure.
Well, I remember that this season in fall ball, you and I were talking, and you were off on the side, and it was right after you had done an interview with the like a group interview with the media, and we were just talking like we normally do, and you looked at me, and I think you were like bending down to tie your shoe or something, and you're like, "Bro, they don't even know. They don't
Yeah,
even know."
yeah,
So
yeah.
what does that translate to for the NFL right now? What does the NFL not yet know about what you can do? Because you've caught a pass for a touchdown, you've run the ball for a touchdown, you've thrown a touchdown pass. You're one of the few people in the world of football that has thrown, caught, and ran for at least one touchdown apiece in each of those. So what does the NFL not yet know about a man who's been asked to do so many different things?
I think they don't know a lot. I think they don't know that my route running is very polished now. Um, I think they don't know that how athletic I am. With the ball in my hands, I've taken snaps at running back, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, played special teams. Um, they don't know that I'm a very physical runner. Like in practice, I was running guys over on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before the game.
Yeah.
And you could ask Coach Fran, I was trying to hit people every single day. Um, so I don't think they know that. In the game, I didn't get a lot of opportunities to with the open field, like to really take off and show my speed and show how physical I am as a runner with the ball in my hands. So a mixture of that and yeah, yeah, I would say that.
So, I mean, before I let you go in this episode of NeapoliDANS with Dan Villari, 2026 NFL draft prospect coming out of Syracuse, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in this exclusive series inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios. Dan, you had three different quarterbacks at Syracuse. You had more than three different. You had three starting quarterbacks. You had Garrett Schrader, you had Kyle McCord, and most recently you had Steve Angeli. You also had Ricky Collins Jr. You had Joe Filardi that was out there. You had Luke Carney at times. I mean, this has been insane. So when you talk about the NFL not truly knowing, it's because you're playing with so many different guys. Some of those guys just ran the ball. Some of those guys did not get the ball down the field. Maybe they didn't read the routes and kind of see where people were going to be. So, how does this work positively for you? Let's look at the positive effect of this, of having at least six different quarterbacks in 3 years. How can this be an asset to you? How can you use this to your advantage to tell an NFL team like, hey, I every year I had a different guy. One year I had at least four different guys. How can we use this as a feather in your cap and not a disadvantage?
Yeah, I think regardless of what my situation was, I showed a lot of flashes of of different things, and I always played hard no matter what, no matter how bad we were losing. And you'll just see the tape, man. You'll see me moving differently as a guy who's 6'4", 240, and I was open. I was open a lot, and there was a lot of great blocking games I put together, and I just played my role for my team really hard, and didn't complain. So
Yeah, and to have somebody who's been under center in the Wildcat, to have someone who's been an extension of the offensive line, to have somebody who's gone to the next piece beyond the defense, beyond blocking the defensive line to block a linebacker. So when we look at all of these different pieces of you, being under center, being in unique formations, blocking a D lineman, blocking a linebacker at the next level, to running the ball and trying to run over people and to power yourself to a first down, to being a wide receiver slash tight end and running routes. This versatility, put it all together in a package. Why are you the right tight end for a team? Because obviously you're a unique one. Why are you the right one?
I think because athletic tight ends are thriving in the league these days, and I'm just a professional. Like I've just always been a pro, and I'm going to get on a team and I'm going to be the hardest worker in the building. And I'm just going to continue to get better. Whatever role they ask me to play in, I'm going to talk to whoever I can talk to. I'm going to find out the drills. I'm going to study film with the quarterbacks, and I'm going to just do anything I can to be the best player I can be. And I'm going to bring the energy and I'm going to make plays. And, there's just something about when that ball's in my hand, I just run like the damn Rents do. And I don't even think about anything, man. It's just been in me for so long. Yeah, I think you're just getting a complete guy that will be bought into the culture and whatever coach asks me to do.
So essentially, if a team were to draft you in the NFL, when they do so, of these 32 NFL franchises, they're getting essentially a tall, built running back / tight end / receiver / linebacker of sorts.
Not a linebacker.
No,
but I could.
I'm saying linebacker because of how hard you hit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. And I could throw it. I could throw it well. They want to do some trick plays.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's another thing that I look to here. So as a final note in this edition of NeapoliDANS with Dan Villari, 2026 NFL Draft Prospect, for you to share with the NFL right now the fact that not only did you go through all of these different things that were asked of you at Syracuse, but to be the leader in the room. For Coach to say going into the season at ACC kickoff, when I was in that room, he said, Dan Villari is the leader of the tight end room. That's the guy. That's the face of the tight end room. So for you to have to transition to tight end, agree to do it, go through the emotion of that, say, you know what, I got this. I'm going to agree to do this. I want to get on the field. I'll do what it takes for the team that I'm on. You dedicate yourself to that. You have an offensive coordinator telling you you can't make it as a tight end. Then you say, okay, watch this. You end up getting out there. Flash forward, you're under center running the offense. Flash forward, you're the leader of that tight end room. And then flash forward to the end of the 2025 season when Fran Brown says to me, you're not just the leader of that room, you're one of the leaders on the team.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just another thing is there's just not a thing I haven't been through. So it's just what can stop me now? Like every time I've been through adversity, it was just like a chip on my armor, and my armor is complete and it's full, and I'm ready for whatever, and I'm ready to go. A funny story, and it's just crazy how life just comes full circle all the time, because my first week at Michigan, I was in camp playing quarterback, and I had no idea. I didn't know the plays. And we ran like a simple play, double post, and I just sat there and just held it. It was like one of the first times I was getting in and getting reps. And I was holding it, and I just threw it so late, and it looked terrible. And Coach Gaddis was my offensive coordinator, and I remember him screaming at me like baddest I've ever gotten screamed at by a coach. And he like handed me the playbook, and he was like, what do you want to call? He was like, you call it. I don't know what to call with you. And he like shoved the playbook in my face. It was a terrible day for me. Probably the worst day in my career. I remember I had like tears coming down my face after that. And what I did after that practice was I stayed and ran that play with one of the walk-ons, and I probably threw it like 50 times in a row on time. And that's just the type of guy I am. I didn't go home and cry. I just had a little tear coming down as I was dropping. I was dropping like game speed, just ripping it, like just knowing that I was gonna overcome. And now the full circle is that Coach Gaddis is a coach now on our team, and I'm one of the best players and the leaders on our team. And now I'm in control, and I'm a man now, and he just saw how I grew. And I love that guy. We got a great relationship. But it's just full circle, man.
What did he say to you when he came to Syracuse during the season this season? After having that moment with you, throwing the playbook at you, saying, what do you want me to call? Tell me what to call. and then you responded by, like you said, dropping back 50 times, getting it there on time, and then all these years later he comes to Syracuse. When he sees you now and what you become, what did he say?
When he saw me, he just smiled and hugged me, and he was really excited to see me. Like, he just, I think he just loves me and I love him, and he didn't say anything specific. Like, he probably forgot about that, to be honest. Like, I think I reminded him one time, and he just laughed. He said, "Yep, yeah, I remember that. I remember that." But he doesn't bring up the past. He doesn't. He just respects me now, and we got a good relationship.
So to the NFL, we are only 2 episodes in, but something's been made very, very clear. Every time that man is told that he can't, he won't, he's incapable, he doesn't show you at some point. He goes full tilt, 157 miles an hour, the moment after you tell him that.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, as always, I appreciate you, and I have to say this because it's the time for it. Merry Christmas to you and your loved ones, and happy holidays as well.
Merry Christmas to you and your family, bro. Appreciate you.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and then those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us, hanging out inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. It's cold, man. Talking about that snow that Paul had to go through. Got to put my Myers Creek Brewing Company sweatshirt on. It's so comfy. You can go and get these at either location, 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, as well as at 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse. Myers Creek, a proud partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and the creators of some of the comfiest closed, so make sure you go out and see them today. We're going to take a step aside. As you know, on Wednesdays, we bring you fantasy football in its very own video and audio feed. So we're going to end this feed, start a new one. So those of you that are with us on our channels, hang out here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on youtube.com, facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com.